All right, let's dive right into this one. Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Rajasthan Royals, match two of IPL 2025, back on March 23rd in Hyderabad. And right off the bat, you've flagged this one for us, and it looked like a really intense matchup. SRH coming off that just unbelievable 2024 season,
Okay.
the bat against a Rajasthan side that was really looking to prove something this season. So the air was thick with anticipation going into this one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and the thing that really jumped out from the pre-match talk was that exact kind of, tension everyone was talking about. Could Rajasthan's bowlers actually contain this unbelievably powerful SRH batting lineup, especially, with Archer coming back into the side. And then on top of that, you had the whole Sanju Samson injury scare thing going on, so Parag ends up taking over as captain. Just a really fascinating kind of subplot going into this match.
It was, yeah, it really was. And, thinking back to the conditions at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium, it really seemed like everything was pointing towards a high-scoring game. You had that
Yeah.
really flat, hard pitch, and then you had those really short boundaries, 65 meters on the square 72, straight down the ground. And then you had the very real possibility of dew, setting in later in the evening. So social media was just buzzing with those big questions. Could Archer's pace, be enough to overcome SRH's powerful hitting?
Yeah.
And could your spinners actually find a way to, tame that orange army on a pitch like that?
And the crazy thing is, those predictions, like, yeah, they made sense, but they really only just scratched the surface of what actually happened. I mean, the stuff you sent me, it just shows that while people were expecting, a lot of runs, what we actually got was just insane. Like, it wasn't even just the number of runs, it was the way they were scored.
Yeah, it was really something else. So in this deep dive, we're going to really break down those key moments from both innings. We'll look at, those really standout individual performances, and then we'll also dig into those tactical decisions that actually shaped, this unforgettable match.
Sounds good. So let's go back to the very beginning with that toss. Parag's decision to bowl first after winning the toss. Did your sources have anything interesting to say about that?
Well, yeah, it definitely raised some eyebrows, considering the pitch conditions and just how strong SRH's batting lineup was. I mean, even your notes mentioned that Pat Cummins had like this little smirk after the toss was made. It almost felt like SRH was kind of ready for anything. You know what I mean? Parag, obviously, being thrust into this captaincy role, he clearly had faith in his bowlers to get some early wickets.
It's interesting because, with T20 captaincy, there's always this element of risk involved, right? So
Yeah.
Parag chose to chase, but maybe thinking about the do factor later on. But like we saw SRH's batting that day was on another level.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So let's get right into that SRH innings. That power play, those first 6 overs, it was just breathtaking. Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma, they just came out swinging.
The info we have really shows just how dominant they were. Right from the first over against Archer, Head just went off. 14 runs right away. Rajasthan was immediately under a ton of pressure.
And then Abhishek Sharma in the second over against Faruqi, like 14 more runs. Just like that, RR's bowlers, they look completely shell-shocked.
The intent was clear right from the start. They weren't interested in just, building a slow innings. They wanted to attack the bowling from ball one, and Head just kept going. And Archer's second over, RE6, for another 18 runs. Social media was blowing up. Head is unplayable. Everyone was saying it.
It was relentless. And then finally, Tikshana breaks the partnership, gets Abhishek out for a quick 24 off just 11 balls. But even that didn't slow SRH down much, did it? Ishan Kishan came in, and while Tikshana did bowl a tighter over, the momentum was still with SRH.
Definitely Kishan kind of took a moment to settle in, and then he and Head just piled on the runs. By the end of the power play, SRH was at 94 for 1. Head was 55 not out off just 19 balls. Kishan was 15 off 7. And Archer's figures were already 0 for 32 after just 2 overs.
That's a rough start for a bowler like him.
Mm-hmm.
And the middle overs didn't get any easier for Rajasthan.
Yeah.
Ishan Kishan really started to put on a show during that phase of the game.
Yeah, I mean, SRH got to 100 in just 43 balls, but it was Kishan's hitting off Archer in the 8th over that really took things to another level. 3 sixes in a row, and Archer ends up going for 22 runs in that over. His figures ballooned to 0 for 50 after just 3 overs.
Wow. And then even when Head finally got out in the next over, caught by Hetmeyer off Sandeep for a brilliant 67 off 28 balls, the runs just kept flowing. Nitish Kumar Reddy came in and just kept the scoreboard ticking over.
It's incredible how every batsman who came in just kept up that aggressive approach. There was no let-up at all. Even Tikshana, who had that early wicket, he couldn't really slow them down. At the halfway point of the innings, SRH was already at 140 for 2. They had set themselves up perfectly for a huge total.
And they really made the most of that platform in those middle overs. Kishan and Reddy kept the pressure on Rajasthan's bowlers. finding boundaries pretty much every over. Then Kishan got his 50 off just 28 balls.
And then when Reddy got out for 30 off 16, you might have thought RR had a chance to regroup. But then in comes Heinrich Klaasen, and first ball 6. It was like any hope Rajasthan had of getting back into the game just vanished. By the end of the 15th over, SRH was at 212 for 3.
And then came the death overs. If the first 15 overs were a storm, the last 5 were like a hurricane of hitting.
It was absolute carnage. Klaasen welcomes Archer back into the attack with a 6 Kishan's just scoring at will, and Archer's over ends up going for 22 runs. That took his figures to 0 for 76, the worst bowling figures ever in the IPL. The sources I saw, they suggested that Archer's lack of match practice might have been a factor.
Yeah, it's hard to believe those numbers.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop there. Sandeep's over went for 13 runs. Then Kishan got his century in the 18th over, 106 off just 45 balls. What a knock.
Unbelievable. Even when Klaasen got out for a quick 34 off 14, the scoring didn't slow down. Aniket Verma came in and hit a 6 first ball. They just kept coming at Rajasthan. The 19th over went for another 9 runs.
And even though Farooqi got 2 quick wickets in the last over, Kishan stayed not out on 106 off 47 balls. SRH finished their innings on 286 for 6, just 1 run shy of the IPL record.
Wow. I mean, that just sums their innings perfectly. It was a masterclass in power hitting. And right away, the question became, could Rajasthan even come close to that score?
For sure. So the chase is on. And from the very beginning, Rajasthan was facing an uphill battle.
Yeah, they lost a wicket in the very first over. Shami got Jaswal out for just 1 run. That put a lot of pressure on the rest of their batting lineup.
Samson tried to get things going in the second over. He had a 4 and a 6. But then Parag, in his first game as captain, he got out cheaply as well. Just 4 runs off 5 balls. Shami got him 2. So suddenly Rajasthan was in big trouble at 25 for 2.
And it didn't get much better in the next few overs. Rana got a start, but he got out for 11 off 8. So by the end of the power play, RR was in real trouble at 47 for 3. They needed 240 runs off 84 balls.
That's a mountain to climb. But then in the middle overs, you had that fight back from Samson and Jurel.
That partnership was huge for Rajasthan. They started rebuilding slowly, picking up those important boundaries that they desperately needed. Between overs 7 and 9, they managed to keep the scoreboard moving and give their fans a little bit of hope.
Yeah, Samson got to his 50 off 31 balls in the 10th over Cheryl. Jurel hit a 6 as well. So at the halfway point, RR was at 94 for 3, still needing 193 runs off 60 balls. But that partnership was starting to look dangerous.
It's interesting to see how different their approaches were. Samson, being the more experienced player, he was kind of holding the innings together, while Jurel was playing really aggressively, taking the attack to the SRH bowlers, and their partnership really blossomed over the next few overs, both of them hitting boundaries more and more frequently. By the end of the 13th over, they were at 133 for 3. You could feel the belief starting to build in the Rajasthan camp.
It felt like they might pull off something special. But then Zampa bowled a really tight over. And then Cummins came back and got the big wicket. Samson out for 59 off 35. That felt like the turning point of the chase.
Yeah, Samson's wicket was a huge blow for R.R. Hetmeyer. Came in and tried to keep the momentum going, but the required run rate was just getting higher and higher. By the end of the 15th over, they were at 150 for 4 and needed 137 runs off just 30 balls.
And despite some late hitting, they just couldn't get there in the end.
Jurel got out for a well-made 69 off 36 in the 16th over. Parag came in to join Hetmeyer, and they did put together a quick partnership. Gave RR a glimmer of hope. Cummins' 17th over went for 22 runs, which made things interesting. But in the end, it was too little too late.
Yeah, Hetmeyer and Prague kept fighting, hitting some big shots, but they just couldn't keep up with the run rate. Hetmeyer got out for 42 off 23, and RR finished their innings on 242 for 6. 44 runs short.
So looking back, what were some of the key moments that really defined this game?
I mean, for me, it has to be Head's innings in that power play. The way he just dismantled RR's bowling, 67 off 28 balls, that set the tone for the whole SRH innings. And then, of course, you have Kishan's century, 106 off 47. Just brilliant batting.
Yeah. And for Rajasthan, even though they lost, you have to mention that partnership between Samson and Jurel. That gave them a real chance. And then Cummins getting Samson out, that was a big moment for SRH.
Definitely. It was a game of some amazing individual performances. Kishan was the obvious man of the match head, and Klaasen played really well too. And you have to give credit to Harshal Patel. He took 2 wickets and bowled pretty well in the later overs.
And for RR, Samson and Jurel were outstanding. Even though they ended up on the losing side, Hetmeyer's hitting at the end was pretty exciting too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Archer had a really tough game, and Jayswell getting out early, that didn't help.
So let's talk tactics. What did SRH do well, and where did RR go wrong?
Well, SRH's strategy was perfect right from the start. That super aggressive approach in the power play, getting 94 runs in the first 6 overs, that put Rajasthan on the back foot right away. And then the way their middle order just kept the runs flowing, that meant RR's bowlers never really had a chance to settle. And while their bowling is tested at times, they managed to get those crucial wickets when they needed them. You could see that they carried over that aggressive mindset from last year.
Exactly. And for Rajasthan, well, their bowling just wasn't good enough, especially from their main bowlers like Archer and Deshpande. And maybe Parag bowling first on that kind of pitch wasn't the best decision. Looking back, I mean, losing 3 wickets in the first 5 overs put so much pressure on the rest of their batsmen.
Yeah.
And then they gave away 74 runs in the last 5 overs of SRH's innings, which made their chase even harder.
Yeah.
The atmosphere at the ground was amazing too. That Hyderabad crowd was so loud and really got behind SRH, which must have given them a boost. And while the RR fans would have been disappointed, they would have enjoyed seeing Samson and Jurel bat like that. And social media was going crazy. Everyone was talking about the big scores and that exciting chase. Even the comments from Cummins and Parag after the match showed how much this game meant to both teams.
So what does this result mean for the rest of IPL 2025?
Well, for SRH, it shows that they're one of the favorites to win the title. They have such a powerful batting lineup. Adding someone like Kishan makes them even more dangerous. And for Rajasthan, they'll be worried about Archer's form and the fact that they've already got a negative net run rate. But they showed a lot of fight, especially Samson and Jurel, so they'll be hoping to bounce back from this.
Yeah, this match really showed what T20 cricket is all about. So many runs and a really exciting chase. It sets the bar really high for the rest of the season. And it leaves us with that big question. Can anyone stop SRH?
So for you, the listener, this deep dive shows that there's so much more to this game than just the score. It was a really interesting tactical battle with some incredible individual performances. And there were some unexpected twists, too, like Parag becoming captain and Archer struggling on his return.
Exactly. We hope this deep dive has given you a good understanding of what happened in this amazing IPL match. We've tried to look at it from all angles and give you those aha moments without overloading you with too much information.
So here's something for you to think about. We saw SRH's batting dominate and RR's bowling struggle in this game. What changes do you think both teams need to make as the IPL season goes on? It'll be fascinating to see how they adapt after this crazy high-scoring game.